guys, it's Miss Bloss again. I am coming with you one last time to speak with you about ecosystems. And so far, as you have been reading through the Exploring Coral Reefs book on ecosystems and working with Miss Ramhoff in class, we've really focused hard on coral reefs, which is just one type of ecosystem. There are many other types of ecosystems. African savanna and the plains are just two other types of ecosystems. So far, we've really focused on coral reefs. Before we start reading today, I wanted to remind you of all of the things we have talked about as far as coral reefs are concerned. So, on this page, I have a top-down topic web. And in this top-down topic web, I see our focused ecosystem, coral reefs, right here at the top. And then each of these blue circles has another area of conversation that we have read about. With our book, Exploring Coral Reefs, we've read about the types of reefs. The atoll, the fringe, and the barrier were the three types of coral reefs that we read about. Some locations, they're not the only locations, but some locations that we read about in our book include the Palmyra Atoll Coral Reef, which is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The Red Sea has a fringe reef, and then there were two barrier reefs that we read about. One was in Belize, which is part of Central America, and the other was in Australia, which was the Great Barrier Reef. Now, so moving on, some other things that we have read about, because coral reefs have so much life and so much to teach us. We've read about all of these different types of coral. We had a couple of readings that told us about the pastimes that people like you or I might do at a coral reef, which was snorkeling. And we've also connected many, many different organisms within the complex food web of coral reefs. Plant-like plankton, animal-like plankton, the black-tip reef shark, sea urchins, the blue streak cleaner race, and the clownfish are just a few of the living organisms that we read about when it comes to a coral reef. The thing that we're going to read about today is saving coral reefs, and we're going to find out what we can add to this piece of our top-down topic web that will remind us how we can work even where we live to save coral reefs. So, come along with me and let's find out in the last section of Exploring Coral Reefs what we can do to save coral reefs. Saving Coral Reefs by Joe Barron. Coral reefs around the world are in danger because of human activities. People must take action to protect the reefs. Why? For one thing, coral reefs are very valuable to people. Millions of people around the world depend on tourism at coral reefs for jobs. Tourists generate billions of dollars for local economies. However, the value of coral reefs is not just in recreation and adventure. Barrier reefs can protect coasts from being worn away by slowing down powerful waves. About 1/4 of all marine life depends on coral reef habitats. Because of lobsters, fish, and shrimp that live in the reefs, millions of people have jobs and food. This photograph caption reads, "In the tourist season that ended on June 12, 2012, about 1.92 million visitor days were spent in Australia's Great Barrier Reef Marine Park. People travel to the reef for diving, snorkeling, boating, and scientific flights." Our writer continues this text by saying, The great variety of living things, or biodiversity, in coral reefs makes them valuable to people. Many reef organisms produce chemicals they use in defense or to stun prey. Some of these chemicals are being used to make new medicines for people. A drug created from chemicals from sea sponges has been used to treat leukemia, a type of cancer. A painkiller developed from the toxin of cone snails may be safer and 1,000 times more effective than medicines used today. Skeletons of corals have been tested for use as grafts to heal broken bones. Medicines are being developed to treat other conditions such as asthma, arthritis, bacterial infections, and heart disease. Some people refer to coral reefs as the medicine cabinets of the 21st century. Lost or abandoned fishing nets can harm coral reefs and animals that live there. Overfishing is a problem at some coral reefs. Blast fishing kills fish and destroys sections of the coral reef. A crown of thorns sea star eats coral polyps. These sea stars cause much damage to coral reefs. People are changing the conditions in which corals grow, destroying these valuable ecosystems. Both near the ocean and far inland, people contribute to the damage. Burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas adds greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, contributing to global climate change. Warming oceans can cause coral polyps to eject the helpful types of algae that naturally live in their bodies. These algae provide coral with some of their food. Without the algae, the polyps have less food and the coral appears white. This is known as coral bleaching. Fertilizers, pesticides, and oils can run off into rivers, eventually reaching the ocean. Pollution from fertilizers can cause overgrowth of harmful types of algae that smother coral polyps. This pollution can increase the population of crown of thorns sea stars that eat the polyps. Soil that is washed into the ocean can settle on the reef, preventing polyps from getting light and nutrients. People near or in the water also can harm the reefs. Irresponsible snorkelers and divers cause damage by walking on the coral or taking samples from the reef. Some boaters drag anchors across the reefs. Overfishing, fishing with poisonous cyanide, and blast fishing can wipe out populations of fish and damage reefs. This photograph has a caption that reads, "Unusually warm water can cause coral bleaching. Sometimes corals can recover. If the conditions are severe, the corals may die." About a third of the world's reefs are in danger of dying. About 1/10 of the reefs are already dead. According to experts, by 2050, 3/4 of Earth's coral reefs could be wiped out. Fortunately, there are things people can do, no matter how far away they live from a coral reef. If people realize the importance of the reefs and begin to act, we might enjoy what these wondrous structures offer to us for a long time to come. The caption on the left reads, "This diver is using cyanide, a poison to stun reef fish. Cyanide harms many organisms of the coral reef. Cyanide fishing is illegal in many places. The laws are often not well enforced." What can you do to help save coral reefs? Number 1, conserve water. The less you use, the less pollution will run off the land into rivers and into the ocean.
Bullet number 2, walk, bicycle, or ride a bus. Help reduce pollution produced by cars that burn fossil fuels. Plant trees to reduce greenhouse gases. Bullet number 3, do not eat fish that are overfished from coral reefs. You can find lists of recommended seafood on the internet. Bullet number 4, if you visit a coral reef, practice responsible snorkeling and diving habits. Do not touch the reef or remove samples. Anchor boats away from coral formations in sandy areas or on moorings that have been installed. Bullet number 5, tell others of the wonders of coral reefs and how to protect them. Governments and other groups are creating marine protected areas. Encourage their support.
Hey guys, so we just finished reading about saving coral reefs, why it's necessary to worry about saving them, and what we're saving them from. And so I decided to add a couple things to our top-down topic web to help, for sure, to help myself remember what we read about. So I added this word biodiversity to our big circle that talked about organisms of the complex food web, because Saving Coral Reefs, it talked again about the biodiverse environment of the coral reefs and why it's so important, because we're getting medicines, new medicines that help save people from diseases like cancers every day, and many new discoveries are going to come from what the coral reefs have to provide for us. And if we don't work to save them now, then we're going to miss out on those medical needs later in the future. And some of the things that we're saving them from are things like the burning of fossil fuels, pollution, and irresponsible recreation habits. People that step on that are snorkeling and step on and kill the coral. The bleaching of coral. I have actually a couple pieces of coral myself that unfortunately are dead, but these are pieces of coral, actual coral, that have died due to one of these three things. So the question is, what are we, you and I together, and every person that we come in contact with, what are we going to do to change our habits so that we can lessen the impact of ourselves on the ecosystem of coral reefs?